They're games that are beautiful beyond belief and inspire hope and joy. Games that transcend our understanding of the beautiful and the whimsical. And then there are games so guttural, so disgusting, so appalling, they make me want to puke my guts out. The two games that come to mind instantly for me are Mouthwashing and Silent Hill 2. On the surface, they seem a bit different, one being a surreal, bit-crushed indie horror descent into psychological discomfort. The other, a PlayStation 2 classic that began life as a Resident Evil clone that's often hailed as one of the greatest horror games of all time. And it has earned that. But one thing that they have in common to me, I can't stop thinking about them, even when I want to stop thinking about them. So drop your lunch, grab your barf bags, and come with me as we look at stomach-churning games and what makes them cook. To start, disgust is a really powerful emotion with a strong evolutionary background. The disgust response is an involuntary reaction triggered by something perceived as offensive, repulsive, or potentially harmful. This response likely evolved to protect us from things like disease, or from danger, or from things that feel deeply wrong. But when an artist carefully, intentionally provokes that disgust, it forces a confrontation. We're asked to sit, basking with the things that we normally flinch away from. In the therapy world, hi, licensed therapist here, how you doing? We talk a lot about defense mechanisms. You know these words: denial, repression, avoidance. We instinctively push away what we can't bear to face. But as I remind myself and others frequently, healing can only start when we stop running and sit. When we look directly at the pain, the shame, and the horror, we can actually start to heal. Some games understand this. They don't just show trauma, they immerse you in a rich, velveteen texture, the smell, the taste. It's not subtle. It's not supposed to be. Playing Mouthwashing felt like... Nope. Playing Mouthwashing felt like falling into someone else's PS1-fueled recurring nightmare. A freakish, bodily invasive experience that made me physically disoriented, causing me to recoil more times than I could count. The environments pulse and distort. The sound design is both clinical and personally assaulting all at the same time. The game itself has you play the scenes out of order, only to further dissociate you and put you in a fog. I had to take frequent breaks because of this, splitting the game into 3 separate playthroughs despite the incredibly short runtime. Even as I felt my stomach clenching, though, I kept going. Because underneath the revulsion, there were some important things being said. Some important things I needed to witness. About the body. About what our bodies remember. About what our negligence will ultimately rot. About trying too hard to clean up things that can never truly become clean. I won't spoil the game for you, as I want to encourage you to play it, to experience it, despite what your disgust reflex might tell you. But I do want to note that Mouthwashing isn't grotesque for shock value. It's grotesque because it makes plain something about what it means to be human, what error can actually mean, even drawing us to consider life as a type of grand error in some ways. But I do want to reassure you, Mouthwashing understands that our reflexes for healing, caring, and empathy can sometimes become corrupted, like scrubbing something so hard that it bleeds, and still not stopping. You might wonder, why does anyone choose to feel this way? Why play games that ultimately disgust you? Because sometimes the things that hurt are the things that warn. These games are grotesque, but not to punish, to reveal. They create a space where the unspoken gets said plainly. I have no actual proof on this for the record, but I imagine playing these types of games is more common for people who identify as neurodivergent, or maybe are, let's say, generally less comfortable in social situations. The type of people who don't seem to get the same social memos that others get when they walk into a room. And if I had to guess why, I'd say it's because these types of games make the invisible parts of reality plainly and painfully visible. After all, revulsion is never forgotten. As a therapist, I've seen how healing often starts first with deep revulsion. It's ugly, it's messy, but if you're gonna heal, you absolutely have to face it. If mouthwashing were like biting into a rotten apple, then Silent Hill 2 is like walking through a house where every room's holding a funeral. And there's no continuous funeral more gut-wrenching than the one featuring Angela. A mysterious character in James's story, one seemingly completely disconnected from his at first. Angela is a character whose voice, clothes, and demeanor don't match her actual age.
I'm looking for my mama. I mean my mother.
She wields an unbelievably sharp knife, and it's intentionally made unclear who or what the knife was originally meant for.
Angela, okay. I don't know what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really?
The knife serving as a symbol of unbearable guilt and hopelessness, you get the feeling that she knows the knife intimately well. Silent Hill doesn't cut out any of Angela's story and lets you feel every last bit. To this day, I remember the first time I saw Angela's staircase. I had to stop. My throat closed up. The flames that she walked through, her own personal private hell, felt too real. I had stood there before. I've walked up that staircase too. And I knew when I reached this heartbreaking scene, I wasn't just witnessing Angela's time in Silent Hill, I was witnessing what it was like to walk in her shoes every single day.
It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
The flame scene comes not too long after another incredibly horrific scene. I don't think I want to talk about it much here, but if you've played the game, either the 2001 original or the 2024 remake, you know the scene, you know the room, you know the enemy. This scene, the realization, when I'm on a roller coaster and I get stomach sick. Or I'm jumping on a trampoline with my daughter and my stomach starts to hurt. This scene smiles back at me in waves inside my head. It makes me nauseous all over again. Be forewarned, if you play this, Silent Hill doesn't sanitize Angela's story. It lets it smolder and linger and makes you witness it, even when you don't want to. James, the protagonist, is no hero. His own journey is wrapped in its own repression and shame, something I'll get into at another time. But it's Angela's truth that cuts deepest for me. And the game never flinches. It never offers false comfort. It just leaves you in that fire. Some games are easy to forget, but these games I'll never forget. They're the games I carry deep within my bones, the ones I will always hesitate to recommend because I know what they might stir up, what they might awaken in people. But I also know why they matter. And I also know the therapeutic value that they bring. If you've ever played a game that's made you sick to your stomach, that you can physically still feel to this day, but stayed with you long after, tell me. I'd love to know. I'd love to help. I'd love to connect with it. Because maybe that's where the real stories live. In the games that made us feel too much. And maybe, just maybe, that's where healing begins. Happy watching. If this video hits a bit too hard, don't just click away. No, try again. As usual, for more beautiful and horrific truths, hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching. Take extra care of yourself today if you can.